All right. We are now live on Facebook. So just to make the announcement for our Facebook followers, if thank you for joining us and following us on Facebook this evening. Uh, we are having the African Leadership Group Virtual Business Summit, and the program will be starting here shortly. We have great speakers and panelists. If you are looking to start a business or you already have a business and looking to get some additional information and coaching, you are truly at the right place and at the right time. We have different experts on the topic, and we'll be starting our program here shortly. So just bear with us. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook as well. Thank you. Kenny, it looks like you have a small business owner that's on your lap. That's going to be starting something very soon. So Jamal, you will have to tell us a little bit about 2 years or 3 years old that want to start a business, how they go about it.
Okay.
You will have to cover that topic, Jamal.
All right.
Could we say start them early? When you start them early, that's the way to go.
Start them early.
Yep, start them early. So thank you. Yeah, if you are joining us this evening for the African Leadership Group Virtual Summit, I highly recommend to everybody that's joining us to definitely have a pen and a paper or a notebook to take note. There's going to be some valuable information. Please, if you can just have something to write on. And if you just join us, even on Facebook, you will have the opportunity to chat in your question on Facebook, and we'll make sure to get it to our panelists. For people that are following us via Zoom, please chat in your question using the chat form. And please make sure to include your name and your email address. That's how we're gonna read out your question. Now, just in case, if we did not get a chance to read out your question this evening, we'll make sure to share it with our panelists that can follow up with you. So we really ask if you can include your name and your email address so they can contact you. And you can start as early as, if you have a question, you don't have to wait because it's first come, first serve. So the question, we're gonna send them to our speakers as the question get in. So please chat in your question as we go through the presentation and who you have the question for. So we'll make sure to get it to them. And the same thing to our Facebook followers. Just use the chat. We have somebody that's monitoring the questions that are coming through Facebook. And it's 6 o'clock. We'll kick off our program because we have a lot to say and not a lot of time. And people will, as we see, people are logging in, joining in. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the African Leadership Group Business Summit workshop. And this is a program that we do often. And my name is Papa, founder and executive director of the African Leadership Group. And let me give you a little bit of background if you are not very familiar with the African Leadership Group, to give you a little bit of background about the organization. The African Leadership Group mission is to help the African diaspora integrate and prosper by connecting culture, developing strong community leaders, and advocating for economic, social, and educational impact. This evening, we are gathered to talk about economic impact. Now, we have so many different committees because we have so many different needs as a community. So, and you can see on the screen, that we have Africa Impact. Africa Impact is the concept where we celebrate proudly and loudly the impact we have in the state of Colorado as African immigrants. We also have a health and wellness, and everybody can relate to anything regarding health and wellness in the current environment that we are in. We also have a legal clinic that where our committee members and Tayo, that's chairing that committee, give pro bono legal advice to members of the community. We also have education on youth, and that's something we are highly focused on to make sure that our children are prepared and have access to the best education possible. We have Leadership Africa, and also we are very proud and excited to launch the first leadership program, Leadership Africa. The concept is just to build more leaders from our community, because one thing we say all the time, if you are not at the table, you are on the menu. We definitely want to build more leaders so we can have a seat at the table and have our voice heard. The public speaking class, and I know we have a lot of students from the public speaking class that are joining us this evening, and we have the graduation coming up, we'll tell you when, but it's a public speaking class where we help members of the community build their content, character, and confidence. If you have some of the best ideas, but you don't have the confidence to share them, it doesn't help. So the public speaking class is something also, this one of our very popular program. Financial and home ownership. Our goal is to really build generational wealth in the community. And we strongly believe that being a homeowner is a good starting point to build generational wealth. And we want to get as many people from the community to being a homeowner. And that's another committee, they're doing an outstanding job. Nevertheless, the business and economic development, and they're the one that's hosting this event. So you will get here to hear a lot about them this evening. I won't say much about them. We also have career advancement. We know that's something that's extremely important, from mentorship, helping people navigate the system to have access to great job. Fundraising committee. As you know, all the programs that we offer them at no cost. We need to raise money in order to keep doing this. So fundraising is something that's extremely important as well. And the Women Empowerment Committee. You know, we know our women are the backbone of the community, and they play a vital role in everything that we do. Those are all the committees that we have in the African Leadership Group. If you are interested in participating and helping, reach out. But we want to thank everybody that's involved in those committees and helping us make a difference. But as you can see, all this work wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors and foundation that are supporting the organization. As you can see on your screen, this is all the foundation that we have. And I also want to let you know that on the screen, we have one of the our funders that's supporting us, that ALG will be offering scholarship to high school senior. More information to come. But if you have a kiddo that's getting ready to graduate from high school, just know African Leadership Group will be announcing its first scholarship program, where kids will have the opportunity to get a scholarship from $2,500 to $5,000. More information to come, but something to be on the lookout for. Now, I want to thank all the sponsors and funders, but also now let's get down to business. And I want to introduce Solomon Mwanga. He's a chair that serves at the board. So meaning he's one of my so many bosses that I have. So I have to behave and really roll out the red carpet for this gentleman. But as you can see, Solomon is a vice president, commercial banker at Midwest Bank. But one thing I always say, and this is how I like to introduce these people, not because what they have on their bio and on their resume, but mainly because of the heart they have for the community. So Solomon is a mentor of mine, a friend, a brother, but most importantly, somebody that have a big heart for the community, and you'll get to hear more about it this evening. Solomon, please take it over. And brother, it's truly a pleasure and an honor to have you serving, helping the community along your side. Thank you, Solomon.
Well, thanks, Papa, for such a resounding introduction and stamp of approval. I am truly blessed to to be on both the board of the African Leadership Group and also to be the chair of the Business and Economic Opportunities Committee, BEOP, as we fondly call it. So thank you very much for that opportunity. So like Papa mentioned, the main purpose that our committee is tasked with is to ensure that ALG meets one of its most important goals, the economic impact goals. Therefore, our goal as a committee is to ensure that we can identify, help the community, put our community in a position where they can identify opportunities, win markets, create jobs, and be thriving business owners so they can better themselves. And at the same time, when they better themselves, they better our community, and also they are contributing members of the state of Colorado at large. So the way we go about trying to achieve these goals is holding quarterly workshop events, number one. Number two, participating in leadership development by supporting the leadership, different leadership committees and different opportunities to support our future leaders. Also by identifying partnerships and corporate sponsorship partnership opportunities within the community, the business community, and within the state of Colorado. So those are the major three ways that we strive to achieve this goal. So without further ado, I would like to also introduce the members of the committee that serve with me. A couple of them are actually your presenters today. First, I have Jamal Bowen. I will talk a little bit more about Jamal later when I introduce him as a speaker. And then I have Tayo Okwande, who's an attorney, and I'll also be talking a little bit more about Tayo and his background when I introduce him as a speaker. I have our moderator today, our very own Lee Telko, another banker. I have Maricela Parquez, who works with the Colorado International Business Office of International Business. And then we have Bill Tucker, who is a CPA with Hanson & Company. And then alongside us, of course, Papa serves with us, and we're supported by Lori and Amadou, who are staff members with ALG. So a lot of the work, the heavy lifting is done by the staff members of ALG, and we appreciate them. So I would like to immediately actually launch into introducing our speaker today. And first of all, again, welcome you again to our first event of the year, our quarterly event. Today's topic is fundamentals of building and growing a successful business in the current environment. We all know that there are very unique challenges in this current environment, but the fundamentals really don't change. And Jamal is going to walk us through a presentation talking through what you would need to do to be successful in this current environment. Jamal Bowen is an educator and a business owner, owner of Empowering Community Entrepreneurs. So he's not just a talking head. He's living and walking the dream of being a business owner. Jamal has been a very intricate member of the committee, and is very, very active in the African Leadership Group. He's also on the board of directors for African Chambers of Commerce, the African Chamber of Commerce. And like I said, he's a business owner, and he's also an educator. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Jamal to get our main topic started. Jamal?
Yes. And Solomon, before Jamal come in, and let me just send a quick reminder to our viewers. And if you have question, please use the chat form and to send it via chat. Please make sure to include your email address and your name. And as we get your question coming in, we'll send it to the speakers. You don't have to wait until they finish to send your question, because we'll send them through to the speakers as we get them. Thank you so much. And Jamal, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Solomon. Thank you, Papa. Thank you all that is on this call. Again, my name is Jamal Bowen, and I'm an educator. I teach at the Community College of Denver. So you must be able to adapt to your current situation. I know this time has been tough for us all. We've all lost family members. We've all seen people lose their family members, and we've seen people lose their businesses. But the big thing is you have to be able to adapt. And that's something that life is teaching us. And this is something that COVID-19 has taught us, is how do we adapt? People will pay you for your ideas. You have to be creative. What is your business plan, right? We all have to have a business plan. The business plan is our guide. It's something that's going to touch someone else's life or change someone else's life. Appreciate the challenges inherent in managing a small business. And so executive summary, this is kind of the attention grabber. This is something that's going to grab your investors' attention. This is going to make them want to invest in your business. And that's what it's about, right? So this highlights your business and the key factors that will influence investors. Financial summary of profit and loss, 3 years and an investment monies required, and time required to pay back any loans. Include a discussion of the elements of managing a small business and the challenges inherent in doing so. And this is included in front of your business plan. So as you're creating your business plan, this is something that you're going to really want to dive into, because this is the first thing they see. Company description. What's the name of your business? The background, be relevant. Make sure you're relevant, be precise. Shows how you think and how you were able to generate ideas to build this business. A mission statement. This is the purpose. This is something that's going to grab them. This is something that's going to make them really say, okay, this business is something I want to give my money to. Because at the end of the day, in order to generate a business, you have to have money, right? Not all of us have enough money to just do it on our own. We need that help. And so when you think of this mission statement, I use this example of Sweet Green because they have a great mission statement. And they say, our mission is to inspire healthier communities by connecting people to real food. We know that Sweet Green is a critical link between growers and consumers, and we feel a responsibility to protect the future of real food. So what is your mission statement? As you listen to that mission statement that I just read, what is your mission statement? What are ways that you can help your community? What are ways that you think that your community needs or the things that they do need? Your startup plan. This is how much it's going to take, right? How are you going to get the funding? Like I said, are you going to be able to pay out of pocket? Are you going to look for investors? Are you going to go to banks? Are you going to look for partnerships? Those are things you have to start thinking about as you're building your business, is how I'm going to pay for it, right? Locations. Where are you going to be located? Are you going to be located in Denver? Are you going to be located in Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., online? Those are things you have to think about on your location. Next, please. Product or service. So a product is tangible. So this is something that grabs the attention, and this satisfies a need or a want for your customers. So for example of a product is food, a beverage, equipment, those type of things, something you can grab, something they can take, something they can hold, right? A service is professional skills. So currently what I'm doing right now is giving you all a service. I'm speaking to you about how to start a business, how to create your business plan, right? It's advice. And similar products. Examples of service are salons, schools, banks, all right? But as you're talking about this product or service that you choose, you have to have a description. So the description is really explaining to me or explaining to those individuals that you're reaching out to is, hey, this is the business, this is the product I have, or this is the service I will be providing. Sourcing and fulfillment of materials needed. So what materials do you need? Or what things are needed throughout your business. So as you're writing down, you're brainstorming, right? You're brainstorming your ideas. The business plan is used to jot your ideas, but make it in a way that it's professional, but also it makes sense. Future products and services as the business grows. So as your business grows or expand, what are you going to take on? Maybe you will add marketing in your business of creating business cards, or branding, different things as your business grows or you expand to another state or another country. Those are things you must think about. Management summary, organizational structure, management team. So for example, this would be you as the CEO, and then you have someone as the overseer, or you have someone who does your financial statements. Those things, those are the things as you're building your team, look for individuals that can push you. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. You should have collective ideas and collective people who can help push your business. And that's what it's about. So as you're building your team, think of those individuals that you can put on your staff.
Hey, what up, girl?
Personal plan. Your personnel plan is the growth and promotion program. So as your business grows, what would you provide for your employees or provide for your staff? So for example, maybe sick leave, or maybe if they do a great job, you pay for a vacation, different things to think about. Next slide, please. All right, the financial plan. So this is the big part, right? We're talking about money. So the assumptions is how a business is organized and operates. They provide structure to how business transactions are recorded. So these are your assumptions, right? So how are you going to organize and operate your business? Break-even analysis and chart of revenues required to cover all your fixed and variable expenses. And so what I go into fixed and variable is very important. So I broke it down for you all so you can see what this means, okay? So variable expenses are costs that vary or change depending on the company's production volume. When production increases, the total variable increases. When production decreases, the total variable decreases. So depending on how you move, if you increase, just know that it's going to go up. If you decrease, it's going to go down. And so it does that. With fixed, that means nothing changes, okay? It doesn't matter if it goes up or it goes down. So the costs that do not change in relation to production volume, when total production increases or decreases, the total fixed cost stays the same. So that's what happens. It stays the same no matter what. So projected profit and loss in proper income statement format, projected cash flow in proper statement format, and your long-term plan. At the end of the day, you have to have a long-term plan, right? If you're not making any money, you may not be in business, right? That's the goal. That's the type of world we live in, is money, right? You have to be able to generate funds. You have to be able to make money, right? It takes money to make money, those type of things. And so those are the mindset you have to have when you're dealing with your financials and understand. And like, we're not all financial gurus. And that's why I said you go back to creating a team of individuals who can help with those different incomes, outcomes, and different things that you need. Next slide. All right, market analysis, market segmentation of your product or service. All right, market segmentation enables companies to target different categories of consumers who perceive the full value of certain products and services differently from one another, all right? So when you're thinking about this, when you're marketing, you have to have a target market, okay? You have to know who you're going to market to. What age group are you going to market to? Because this keeps you balanced, right? This helps with the understanding of who you think your product or what your product or service will relate to. So when you're thinking of your target market strategy, state your specific plans to enter your specific market area. So it takes research. You have to do a little research of this low. So it could be, hey, I'm doing some research. I'm new to Denver. Let me see what their market looks like, or what age groups my business will relate to. Market trends, specify actual percent increase or decrease of your specific market, all right? Industry analysis, getting back to that data. So some of you data, numbers don't lie. We all know that. And so as you search and do your research, and as you look at different things within your community or the community that you want to reach out to, these are type of things that are going to keep you busy and keep you going in a sense of, okay, I see what I can do. I see what they need, right? Main competitors. So these are competitors, meaning other businesses. So you have to know who you're competing against, right? You can't go in there and go into a fight blindfolded and think you're going to win. You have to know who you're going to go against, right? And you got to understand that some of your competitors can become your partners. So don't ever think that, oh, just because they're my competitor, we can't work together. No, there's some of those individuals and some of those companies that you can work with. So I want you to all keep that in mind. Next slide, please. All right, the SWOT or SWOT analysis. This is great. So it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And so you have to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. And so strengths and weaknesses are internal, meaning that's from you. So it can be tech skills, diverse team skills, you volunteer, learning new skills, reinforce existing skills, leadership skills, management skills, communication. Weakness could be lack of competitive strength. Maybe you're just someone that's just not a competitive person, right? Or gaps in capabilities, morale, your commitment, your leadership is lacking some. You just don't have the management skills, right? And I want you to think of your weaknesses. Don't think of that that's something you can't do. That's something you can work on. I want you all to encourage yourself that whatever you're weak in, you have make sure that you're able to work on it and become stronger, right? Your opportunities and threats are external. So opportunities, work experience, networking, professional development, industry exposure, learning new skills, partnerships, and the locations, okay? Threats can be competitors, may lose talent, tax increases, and so on. Next slide, please. And so these are my keys to success for a successful business. Ethics and compliance are required. Must maintain effective communication, maintain transparency with shareholders, be realistic in resource and financial management. Previous experience related to business is helpful. Maintain life balance and time spent on business. Focus on customer satisfaction and product quality. Maintain resources in line with sales and growth expectations and planning. And so these are the type of things you have to mainly focus on. It's okay if you don't have prior business experience, that's okay. Get with someone that does, right? Research, read, connect. Networking is probably the biggest thing in my career is networking, meeting other people, picking their brains, just getting to know the different ins and outs of different things. And then doing business is by doing it. I learned business by doing it. And so you have to get your foot in there and get yourself in there and really push yourself and really be wanting to learn something different, but also know that as you create this business, you're a leader and your focus should be really to help your community and build your community. And that's what the business is about. And so these are some resources for you all, how to register your business with the Colorado Secretary of State, and then how to apply for an EIN number. These are great aspects for you all, and this can help you all. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamal. That was a really, really amazing presentation. A lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of things that our participants can really sink their teeth into. And I want to remind you, this is not just for startup businesses. This is for existing businesses. In banking, we really look at businesses. There's 3 years or less in business are still in that infancy stage. So these are still fundamentals that are applicable to that. And one more thing before I forget, I failed to mention we have a really jam-packed agenda today. We have a couple more, in addition to Tayo Okwande, who's going to be talking about the legal aspects of starting a business. We're also going to be featuring a business owner, Patrick Chenua, who's the owner of Chocolates Bimbamba. And he will be introduced in more detail by one of our committee members, Maricela Parquez. So I would be amiss about not telling you about what's coming up next. So everybody's ready. Please make sure that you're submitting your questions along the way as they come to mind. Use the chat line to submit the questions and have a chance for the speakers to address your questions. So Pablo, what's next on the agenda right now?
So next on the agenda is the raffle, but I want to go back to Ms. Lori, if we can, because we have one of our sponsor, Midwest Bank, and I know you work for Midwest Bank, and I don't know what happened there, but we just wanted to show you how Midwest Bank has been supporting us. And we have a small video to play for you to see the impact they're currently having in the community. And after that, we'll go through the raffle. And Ms. Lori, it looks like the community is so familiar with the raffle. They're beating us and sending their numbers early on.
They're just practicing. They're just practicing because those don't count.
All right, but please join us to listen into this great promotion from Midwest Bank, and we want to thank them for their support. Through Solomon.
People and Jamaican cuisine, Robert and Kelly had big dreams for their family and their future. Their Midwest One bankers got them started with an economical home equity loan, personal and business checking, credit cards, commercial real estate loan, and more. With help from Midwest One, Robert's zest for Jamaican fare grew into island vibes. Now he and Kelly are on the road to success. When you have a dream, trust Midwest One Bank for simply better banking.
Thank you so much, Ms. Laurie, and thank you, Midwest Bank, for the support. Solomon, we thank you. And one thing I want to let the community know, one of the advantages you have is when you go through this committee and looking for funding, you're not just going to have one source of funding. If things doesn't work out with one source, this committee member will identify all the source and relationships we have to leverage it. So don't hesitate to reach out to Solomon or any members of the committee if you have any need when it comes to having access to financing. Also, just another reminder, please chat in your question, please plus your name and email address. Now, Ms. Laurie, you have the tough job to tell the community the rules and how this raffle is gonna work and what they can win. Ms. Laurie.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Papa, Solomon, and Jamal. Okay, so I see you guys have already started chatting your numbers in. That was just a practice. So we are gonna have one raffle, but there's gonna be two winners. And the two winners will win everything that's on the screen. So here are the instructions. I'm gonna go pretty quick because we're stretched for time. The instructions are, we're gonna wait until I say go. Pick a number between 1 and 200, and you will, of course, send your number via chat. So there may be 2 or 3 people with the same number, but that's okay because we have two prizes. But the first 2 people that chat in their numbers first, we're gonna check the timestamp, will be the winners. Okay, so the numbers are pre-selected, and when I say go, you have 20 seconds to chat your number in. Ready, set, go.
And while you chat your number, the winner will need to have, when we announce the winner, will need your name and phone number so we can get in contact with you and mail you your prize.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time.
All right, Miss Laurie, what you get? If you play this before, Miss Laurie's number always start with 1. I guarantee it's gonna start with a 1. Let's watch it. That's a 1 coming out. Oh, this looks like a 4. 40. Oh, I see Mickey had a 45. I see a.
Oh, you have 2 45s.
You have 2 45. All right, so Miss Laurie, can you tell them one more time, if it doesn't fall on the 40, who wins? The next number closer to 40?
So we have 2 winners, if closest to 40. So 40 or closest to 40 are the winners. There's 2 winners, okay? And Amadou will take the numbers. We're going to sort those numbers out, and at the end
Thank you.
At the end of the event, we will announce the winners, but I'm sure we already know who the winners are. Thank you for playing.
Thank you so much, Miss Laurie. And again, I will turn it back to Solomon here, but I just want to remind everybody, thank you for those who send in their question. The sooner we get your question, the sooner it will help us sort it out and get it to the speakers. So please, please, please keep sending your question using the chat form. And also please include your name and your email address, just in case if you don't get to it, we can get it to the speaker that can follow up. So Solomon, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Oh, that's a tough show to follow. You know, Laurie gets people excited. Everybody wants free stuff. So yeah, we're providing a lot of tangible and intangible values when you attend our workshops. So moving right ahead, I would like to introduce my colleague, fellow committee member, Tayo Okwande. Tayo is an experienced attorney here in Colorado and handles litigation matters for clients across a number of different industries. And Tayo has graduated from the University of Denver and Sam College of Law, and has a lot of experience with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. And he started his firm, Okwande LLP, a few years ago, And Tayo, in his words, says he takes a clear and a creative approach to every case and seeks to empower his clients and to provide representation that's practical and personal to each client's specific situation. Tayo will be talking about the legal aspects of starting a business. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Tayo.
Thank you, Solomon. Appreciate that nice introduction. Lori, if you can move on to the next, there you go. So you've decided to start a business, and tonight I'm going to talk about some of the legal considerations, the legal aspects that you need to consider or think about and factor into the business that you start. Next slide, please. So the kind of I broke it down into three main areas. The first is you have to choose a proper business entity. There's a lot that goes into that. We have whether you want to remain private as a company, or you think maybe potentially one day you're going to go public. That will factor into how you set up the entity, your business entity. Also, whether you want to bring in investors, whether private investors or people with, more public entities investing in your company. And we'll talk about that specifically in more detail on the later slides. And keep in mind, so when I talk about the considerations, I might touch on some tax implications, but I'm not a tax attorney. We have Bill Tucker that's on the committee that's well versed. He's a CPA, obviously. And I think we're doing some forum with them down this year or later this year. But I want to make sure that you understand that we're only talking about the legal aspect that you need to consider. So not necessarily, I'm not going to touch on the tax part of it. But in addition to choosing your business entity, which is important, there is also considerations as to the licenses, insurance, permits, registration, et cetera, that you need to be aware of. So for example, if you're starting a home care business, for example, or a nursing home business, there's certain licenses or insurance that you need to get before you can actually start to operate in the state of Colorado. And so the state website, now I'll give you some of the resources at the end of this presentation that's going to lead you to those areas where you need to check and see if there's any licenses. Same with if you're starting a liquor store, for example. There are liquor laws, liquor licenses that you have to comply with before you even get to start to operate. Additional consideration would be for obviously you have to register with the Secretary of State, which Jamal alluded to at the beginning of his during his presentation. Also, there's a federal identification number, the EIN, that you have to get as well to be legally recognized as doing business in Colorado. And then the third aspect that I want to touch on is obviously your agreements and contracts on the legal side that you need to factor into the business that you decide to create. So agreements such as the operating agreement, bylaws, kind of the same name for or different names for the same agreement, if you will, depending on whether it's for an LLC or for a corporation or a nonprofit. You also need to think about, whether you need a client agreement or a customer agreement. Let's say, for example, you build swimming pools, right? I have a client that does that. And you have to be able to, have your clients sign agreements that you're going to provide services. Those are all legal issues that come into that, and legal considerations that go into those contracts. Employment agreements. Do you want to hire people and pay them on the payroll? Or do you want to bring people in as independent contractors? There's different legal considerations on those two. And how the law handles them, right? How does Colorado view whether one person is an employer or one person is an independent contractor? There's a whole slew of law and statute again around that. I'm not going to get too deep in that, but that's something that you have to consider when you start your business or in starting your business. And then as we talked about, as I talked about whether you want to bring investors in, you also want to think about investor agreements, potentially agreements between the company and an investor coming in, what shares, how do you want to divvy that out? And the last part that I put there is just your everyday sort of lease, rental, purchase agreement. Does the company have assets? I mean, does the company need to buy a car in the case of, kind of a delivery type company? Obviously, do you have an office? You're going to have to sign leases and rental agreements and so on and so forth. So that's just that in a nutshell. Now, Lori, if you go into the next slide, we're going to delve more into the pros and the cons of what entity you decide to choose. Obviously, I'm going to highlight 4 entities. However, there are more entities that I don't talk about here, but these are the most common ones that I just wanted to touch on, given the time constraints that we have with this presentation. So, starting with the easiest form of business, you don't have to formalize a business when you start it. So a lot of people start off just by themselves, and that's what's called a sole proprietorship, right? There's no cost to forming that. You just start, basically conducting the business as if it's yourself. Obviously, as you can see there, I mean, there's really it's a minimal to no cost in setting that up. On the negative side, though, obviously, with the legal aspect of starting a business under your own name and with yourself, that your assets are not protected from creditors. Creditors can essentially go after your assets, and creditors such as people that you owe money to, or vendors and things and people like that. So that's the easiest entity that could be formed, and a lot of people do that just without knowing it, right? You don't even have to, say that you're registering or you're creating a sole proprietorship. You just have to, start doing business. There's the second entity that I want to touch on is the more common type of entity, the limited liability company. Now, you can be a sole member LLC, or you can have multiple members as an LLC. And so Colorado allows for that. Some of the positive parts of that is that you have limited liability, as the name entails. There's limited liability for owners and for business debts that's incurred. Generally, debtor or creditors aren't allowed to pierce the corporate veil unless there's improprietary dealings there. And you get to choose, and this is kind of the little migration into the tax side, but as an LLC, you get to choose how you want to be taxed, whether you want to be taxed as a partnership or any form of a corporation, such as an S Corp that we'll talk about later on, which makes you then, for taxation purposes, a pass-through entity. So, and then that's just a common terminology that, you have to, basically you're not personally subject to taxes. You only pay, you pay income taxes on the profits of the company. Anyway, so that's my delving into tax. I'm going to leave that alone. But the negative of an LLC is that it could be a little more expensive to establish, more than a sole proprietorship. There's obviously some, you might want to consult with an attorney to draft an operating agreement between 2 or more, members of an LLC. That's additional cost to that as well. Lori, the next slide, please. Then we're all familiar with the partnership. Obviously, there's many types of partnerships here. I just highlighted some of them: the limited partnership, the limited liability partnership, the general partnership. You can decide what kind of partnership you want to create. Obviously, there's advantages to creating either a general partnership versus a limited partnership, but generally they're easy to create and maintain. The reason you would limit the partnership is limiting liability as well for the partnership, obviously. the disadvantages on a partnership is, as I put in there, that you have to sort of address the issues with the D's, right? You have the dissolution, death, divorce of partners, disagreement between partners, departure of a partner. Those have to be addressed in any of the agreements that you sign in starting that. There are obviously, you know, some of the, depending on the partnership, like for example, in the legal profession, there are restrictions on who the members can be among the LLPs. So that it's a little more restrictive in that sense. And then last but not least, are on the list is the corporations, the big corporations. Legally, the owners enjoy limited liability. And if you're looking at larger investors, this is a good way to set up a company. They're more expensive to set up. There's more formalities in terms of meetings and things about how you have to conduct those meetings and reporting and all that sort that make setting up a corporation a little more expensive. Lori, the next slide, please. So everybody knows about what an S Corp is, and I get questions about that all the time. One thing that a lot of people that I talk to get wrong is that an S Corp is actually just a tax election. It's not a legal designation of a business. So LLC, you can have an LLC, for example, and designate that, as I indicated earlier on, as an S Corp, to be taxed as an S Corp. So there's obviously some filings that have to go with that, such as the Form 2553. But people, this is a common way to do to form an LLC here in Colorado that I've dealt with my clients. There are restrictions though to an LLC because it's obviously it's a federal tax consideration. And I've put some of those requirements there, primarily that it has to be a domestic corporation, no more than 100 individual or shareholders in the LLC to form that S Corp, to be able to designate as an S Corp rather. And you only have to, you can only offer one class of stocks. But anyway, that's just a summary of some of the requirements for forming an S Corp, but you get the picture. Next slide, Lori. So last but not least, I've put together just a few of the additional resources. Obviously, consult with your attorney in starting as far as deciding which business entities is best, and also a tax professional, as well as going through these websites. I've personally gone through all of them just to see there's a lot of information about for not only starting companies, but also maintaining a vibrant company in the state of Colorado. I would say personally, the Colorado Secretary of State website is very, very informative. There's a FAQ, which I've linked to there. There's a frequently asked questions section of that a lot of people gloss over, but it's really important in getting information for the businesses. And you can see, and I believe Lori's sending out these slides so you can have access to these websites as well. So, but that's a presentation in a nutshell, and feel free to chime in your questions at the end. I'll be happy to answer those questions that you may have. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tyrell. Really, really great information. Just a quick reminder, again, the intent of these events is help us provide you some resources. We're not trying to make you experts at any stretch of imagination, but also just as a reminder, as you have questions, to think of questions and you're submitting, and I see the chat line has been really, really active. Hopefully Liz and Amadou are busy sorting these questions out, and they'll send them to our speakers. But these resources are going to be, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Papa or Lori, they're going to be not only shared among us, our participants who are very, very engaged. We still have a lot of them still around. They're still waiting around to win the next raffle. But they will share these resources, this presentation directly to our participants. We'll also have it on the LG website, so you can go back in there if you have any questions to be able to use this presentation, this event information shared as a resource. Next, I'm going to, Pablo, is there any other comments you need to add on before?
No, that's right on point. And just wanted to let the speakers know, some of the attendees are asking also the speakers' contact, because some of them would like to follow up with you because of the great information they heard. So we will share that. And again, all this information will be on our website. If you haven't registered through the Eventbrite, we don't have your information. So if you can go to the link, register to the Eventbrite, and we'll be sharing this slide with all of you and the video of this event. So thank you.
Thanks, Papa. Next we'll just move directly to our next item on our agenda. I will have Maricela Paraquez, who's the project manager at the World Trade Center in Denver, who's one of our committee members, introduce her guest and client, who's going to be featured in our event today as an active business owner. Maricela?
Thank you, Solomon. Can you hear me very well? Perfect. Yeah, thank you for inviting me here again. I'm very honored to be part of this committee and organizing these meetings that I think are going to be very useful for a lot of people. That I see a lot of enthusiasm in this chat, the people wanting to do their business, everything. So we at World Trade Center develop a program that we are helping immigrants to create their international business for import and export. So we provide training, coaching, students assistance that help to write your business plan and get access to funding too. So within this program, we started about 2.5 years ago. But at the end of 2019, October 2019, Patrick came to us to work. He has several ideas of what type of business, the product that he wanted to import from Cameroon. So we started to work together and try to guide him on the course of the business will be. He came with idea with several different products, but finally say, let's try one, let's see how it goes, let's do the whole process. You are learning in the process and you can get more help. So we have been able to give him several just training, but also access to finance through our partners and everything. We have been given a great mentor that has been with him for more than a year, helping to create the sales strategy. Now we are going to the taxes, and he got a really good success, especially this. He opened his business in June of 2020, and he started to sell. He is a very smart and very dedicated entrepreneur, has been doing a lot of sacrifices, but dedicating a lot of time. And we have been helping him as much as we can. So right now he passed for being an entrepreneur to have a corporate membership with World Trade Center and helping all the ones that are coming from behind. So I think presenting Patrick, it is a good opportunity for others to learn that it's possible. He came here, but you need to dedicate time. You need to be very aware of everything that you need to do, and we can help. And everybody in this committee also can help. We have different people, and so take note of what Patrick is going to tell you, and no more introduction, but Patrick is a fantastic and one of our best examples of our success of the business importing delicious chocolate from Cameroon. Patrick.
Patrick, you're muted.
Yes, thank you, Marcel, and thank you, Solomon. Thank you, Jamal, everybody for the speeches and the information. Very helpful. So again, my name is Patrick Cho. I live here in Denver with my wife and my kids, my two kids, two boys. And yeah, with my wife and I, we started a farm in late 2015. We basically actually bought 2 lands in Cameroon in 2015. And in early 2016, we start growing cocoa and plant and coffee in each of the lands. Has been an interesting journey, and it takes at least 3.5 years for cocoa tree to start producing. So in late 2019, we start our first harvest. By the time the product arrived in the US, we were in the middle of the pandemic. So our plan was very, had been modified. So thankfully, we were surrounded by the right people, especially the World Trade Center. My mentors there, Alan Benson and Marisela, a great team. We were able to kind of assess what's the reality and make some change on the business plan and figure out what's going to work. And we were able to make the best out of it. And in mid-August of 2020, last year, we were able to start with our first product on the market. Right now we have 3 chocolate flavors, like that's how it's called. We have chocolate with plantain, which was our original, our first product we put on the market. And reception was very, very positive, and it encouraged us to put our 2 other flavors, which is chocolate with coconut and chocolate with coffee. Today, we are in about 55 plus locations in between Denver, Longmont, and Boulder. And we are working very hard for our next phase this year. Our next phase starts in April of this year, and it will go for 12 months. And because we basically have a very interesting farm that actually produced a lot this year, I think 10 times more than last year. So we need to figure out what to do with all that cocoa. And I'm a very stubborn person. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to be stubborn. So I want to be able to make chocolate out of all that cocoa and sell. So instead of just selling cocoa beans, I think also we need to, it's important to give a value added to your product before you sell it. That's something I can learn. So next slide. Let me talk. So what does it take? Technically, I mean, we listened. A great speaker, Jamal, was very good at it, and he explained. He gave us some of the basic things, but I mean, on a general level, because I think it also depends on where you are at the time where you start your business and the type of business you're trying to build. So it depends in many ways. So, but I would say, the first thing is to take the first step. Because I think I heard somebody say today on this forum, and the soonest you start, the better. You don't waste time, and actually as an entrepreneur, you can't waste time. You got to be fast. You have to move fast. And I mean, not fast like fast crazy, but fast like you don't waste time. And because time is such a best commodity, and also I think if you waste time, other people move. You lag behind. So you need to take the first step and the fastest possible, and then you figure out as when you enter the game, you figure out you're gonna fail, you're gonna succeed, you're gonna take lessons, and actually you don't fail. Actually, you get some setback and then you learn from it and then you move forward. And it's by saying that you become actually a better entrepreneur. So the second thing important to try to solve is capital. And it's, I think, in my opinion, one of the most difficult thing to figure out. I think here we have a lot of resources with the African Leadership Group and also the Water Center Denver. You guys can connect with them. They can give you some tips. I think it's very important to figure out what you actually need, maybe like 50% more, and then try to get that. If you can't, then scale back and try to scale your scope, scale down your scope, and try to start a little bit small. Start where you can, but at least start. And it's very important because to understand that you won't get a meaningful capital most of the time. You don't get a meaningful capital if you haven't realized if it's a concept, right? Like a proof of concept. You need to have a proof of concept if you want to go after the big money, the big amount. You have to start small, develop a proof of concept. I think that's very important. And then during the whole process, what does it take? Another thing that it takes being a very open person. And it's kind of challenging because I think many entrepreneurs that I know, and include myself, are very introvert, I think. But you still have to make an effort to identify the right people and open to them and open yourself in. And those are, organizations like the Water Center, the African Leadership Group, also, other entrepreneurs who have excelled and succeeding. And when you talk to them, you understand that, it just takes a lot of setbacks. I don't call it failure, but a lot of setbacks to get to the promised land. And you have to learn how to listen to them, listen to people, and not only people who have done it, but people with a little bit, wisdom, listen to them. And then also very important when you start, with a product or a service, you need to listen to your customer, because at the end of the day, that's actually the best audience that you need to listen to, the most important audience, because they're the one who really determine whether you fail or succeed. If you actually, I don't believe in too much in failure, but yeah. So yeah, stay open-minded, and also very important, be if you're not a nice person, try to learn how to become a nice person, because being a nice person will open you a lot of doors and attract more people. If you're, if you're cold or mean, that won't take you far. That's my experience. And listen to people. Again, I can emphasize that more because even today, I listen to a lot of people. Just today, I have, meetings, talking to people. You got to listen to people. And people have their own opinion. People are gonna have different arguments. But at the end of the day, when you listen to a lot of people, you learn how to, take out of it what you need to take out of all those advice and all those experience, and then run with it. It's very important. And yeah, and the other things, you need to be persistent. You don't come into this, trying, thinking that it's gonna be easy and that it's gonna be. It could be, it's not impossible, but most of the time, it's it takes a long time. It takes a lot more time than you think it would take, and it takes a lot more money than you think it would take you. So those are the reality. And you start, first phase is learning, and learning costs money. It costs money, because you have to go to places, you have to meet people, you have to buy stuff, you need to test this, you need to test that. You fail, well, get setbacks, and then you waste product, you waste materials. It's all expensive. It's part of the cost of learning. So you need to factor that. So that's why you need to start small, and then you develop a proof of concept. Next slide. Yeah, so SWOT analysis. Jamal touched that very well. And I'm gonna just go a little bit over, what my SWOT analysis kind of look like. It's not the whole thing. It's very, very simplified. But I just pick some of the main points. Basically, you have to be, one of my strengths was the fact that I was a cocoa grower. You know, one thing that I think I understood, or kind of, I don't know if I understood, but I think my wife and I, we chose was to, you know, to go the hard way. You know, I mean, if you, and it's something very important, if you start a business, to be successful, you need to do something, bring in something different. I think you need to do something different. You need to do something that's a little bit harder than what other people have done. And if you try to do something very easy and very quick, everybody will do the same thing. And you probably, you know, you'll be just one of many. So yeah, we decided, okay, we wanted to grow our own cocoa. So that means we're gonna start our own farm and start from scratch. So that's today became a very important strength for us when it comes to our business. So yeah, we have good knowledge of Cameroon. We were very, we try very hard to hire very well-trained and educated, experienced people in our team, which is very difficult to do because you know, you don't have money. So you need to find a way to attract such people and have them commit. And sometimes being a nice person and having a really good mission it can help you attract that kind of people and to join your team at the early stage of your company. So another thing that I found very interesting, especially when you work in Africa, because part of our business in Africa, including women, women, it's an untapped resource in Cameroon, and I think they have proven being very awesome people to work with and very effective, very, very good team members. So that's something that I kind of, my wife and I, we really, wanted to make sure that we implement our strategy. Yeah, we try to be sustainable, and I think it's a good thing that the whole world, most part of the world, are moving toward that dynamics, and I think it's a good thing for everybody. Good thing, actually pays off when you start selling. So opportunity, yeah, we noticed that there was a great increasing demand in cocoa product and chocolate, and the production was declining, mostly due because of climate change in some of the biggest producing countries, Cameroon included. And our weakness, we had startup. We don't have a lot of money, so we don't have track record. We didn't have track record at that time, and so it was a challenge to attract the right resource. And then Cameroon is a frontier country, so could be a little bit challenging there sometimes. Some of the trade, the trade, climate change, like I said, and competitions. Next slide. So some key plans and initiatives for us run, and this year we want to hit at least 650 new locations across Colorado. We really want to focus on Colorado this year and try to, if possible, saturate Colorado. And then, yeah, we want to, double that number the following year. And we want to be, and it depends on what door opens to us, because what I learned is that you always wish something and then something happened, and what have to happen. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean most of the time it's actually a good thing. So you just take it and run with it. So we don't know. I can tell you exactly where we'll be in 5 years, and I'm just gonna we're just gonna wait and see, and then just make a decision. And the good thing is that we try to hire the right people, and when you have the right people in your team, making the right decision is always almost obvious. So thank you very much.
Well, Solomon, I'll turn it over to you, but Patrick, thank you so much. And I will just start by saying this is what the African Leadership Group is about, and wanted to take somebody from the community and to show you that it's possible, and to elevate each other. And Patrick, we are very, very, very proud of you. And we have a lot of learning, and we know most of us, we have the same dream and similar, and we don't know how to go about it. So just know that you're going to have to be an entrepreneur and a teacher at the same time, because all of us are going to be coming and trying to learn from you. So Solomon, I'll turn it back to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Papa. On behalf of the Business Economic Opportunity Committee and the participant, I just want to say thank you to Patrick. To me, what's so inspiring about this is not only is Patrick living his dream, his American dream as an immigrant and as a business owner, but he embodies a lot of the fundamentals that Jamal pointed out on some of the fundamental things that you have to do, what you have to face. And he elaborated on this and gave us a practical demonstration of when you apply those fundamentals, how you will be successful going forward. So again, to remind everybody, at this time, I'm going to open this to our next agenda item, which is a question and answer. So I'm going to turn it over to Lee Toko to moderate the questions that have been coming in. So Lee, you have the floor.
Sorry about that. I actually have a lot of questions. So I'm going to just try to select a couple. So first, I'll kick it off with Jamal. Great question came through by Buso, I believe. So it asks, what suggestions do you have for promoting your business and knowing what kind of audience you should target?
Oh yeah, definitely. Great question. When it comes to marketing your business, is kind of creating that foundation. So what I mean by that is really seeing, truthfully, is who do you want to target? Think about that. And the reason I say think about that is because what age group do you feel most needs your business, or community needs your business? And so when you're reaching out or marketing yourself, you have to think of your dynamics. And so for me, I currently work with 12 and to 50, right? And so I work with individuals who want to do a business. And so within those individuals who want to be part of your business or want to invest in your business or be a customer, that's kind of gives you that type of age group, and you should keep track of that. I mean, you shouldn't have to go around asking people what's your age, but kind of get a sense of their ages as those who are supporting you, right? If it's young people supporting you, then maybe you want to target 18 to 35. If there's an older crowd, maybe 45 to 60. It just depends on who's supporting your business, and then what's the need of those individuals who in your business.
Can I add to this, if you don't mind?
Sorry, was that Patrick?
Please, can I add to it?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and like Jamal, just to add to what Jamal said, in what we notice is that typically when you make a product of a service, you think about, you have an idea of who's going to be your market, right? What are people going to buy? But then, and something that's very interesting is that, especially in the case of a food business, right? It's very important to keep your mind open and actually test the product, because we had an idea of who we are, our customer, until and then farmers markets was very, very instrumental for us to actually test the product and see who are the people who are buying. So that's one of the areas where when you start small and you test the product, you can actually see who are the people who are buying. And also understand also that at the farmers market, the people who are buying at the farmers market could be different from the people who are buying online. So we see a different group. We can see different. It's possible to see different type of people. Different group segment. So that's what I want to say is that try to start small, find a way to to expose your business, to expose your product, and to have people try your product, and then see who are the people who buy, who are the returning customers, and then from there adjust to moving forward. So that's what I wanted to share.
Awesome, thank you so much. And Tayo, this one's for you. This is a really good question, and I can actually even chime in, but the question was from Miriam, and she asked, what are the benefits of filing your business under the Colorado Secretary of State? So I mean, before I turn over to Tayo, I would just add, the important thing is, obviously, as you're going to get lending, you're gonna wanna be registered. You know, they're gonna wanna see that you've been registered for a certain period of time to be able to actually even get funding. And Solomon can even chime in as well as Tayo, but it's extremely important that you register your business. You know, that way you can kind of go back, and obviously you have to show the articles or organization or incorporation or any documents to be able to even actually open up a checking account with the bank.
Yeah, and Lee, every business in Colorado is required to register with the Secretary of State. As you said, you know, obviously it's important for lending. It's also important for tax purposes, so that the state of Colorado can find you and make sure that you're legit. On the legal side, you're not actually viewed as an entity doing business in Colorado until you're registered under the Colorado Secretary of State. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different, like, sole proprietors. You know, a lot of sole proprietors are not registered necessarily, but that's, again, as I talked about, that's more you individually doing business. So you're just filing your personal income tax at that point. But yeah, as Lee talked about, there's the advantages that you are actually have access to lending, access to, you know, investors. They want to see if you're established and how long you've been established, and just see whether, you know, who are the, you know, who's a registered agent, you know, where can I mail stuff, you know, where can I send legal documents, where can I send information, that sort of thing. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Tayo. And another one for you from Ho. The question is, what is the difference between a private and a public company?
I mean, well, so public company is a company that offers its shares to the public, right? So, you know, publicly traded company. And as opposed to a private company, which basically is owned by its founders and the shares are not publicly traded. Now, the difference is that public companies are open to, they have a lot of regulations around them, right? You know, as if you're gonna offer shares to the public, there's certain disclosures and certain things that the federal government wants you to disclose to your shareholders. And so there's a lot more regulations around a publicly traded company.
Thank you so much. And then Patrick, I just have a couple questions for you. I don't know if you just got that, but Melissa asked, how did you identify pieces of land to grow cocoa? So how did you identify that in Cameroon?
Yes, so we LDH had a couple of people who were available in Cameroon, and we bought GPS and sent it to them. And we also, you know, I was talking to people in the business community here in Denver, and I ended up with meeting the owner of a company called Aware. And he, at the time, had his company able to get climate data from all around the world. So I, send the GPS to my folks in Cameroon, the people that are in Cameroon, and they travel to different places and identify, few land for sales in different regions of Cameroon, because coffee and cocoa grow in different elevations. And then we they pick the data, Geographic Africa data, they sent it to me, and I forwarded the data to the owner of that company, and he came up with climate data for, let's say, the last 10 years. And I was able to create some curve and figure out what was the best location for product. And when I say best location, that means taking into account climate change, how temperature and pluviometry and rainfalls evolve, where are we safe from climate change for the next, let's say, 30 to 40 years. So that's the project that we can, when I selected one land for each of the crops, we started negotiation with the owner of the land, and then we purchased the land. So that was our the process.
That's awesome. And then Abraham asked, did you have a chance to use the African Growth and Opportunity Act to import your chocolate? You know what that is? The
GOMA?
I'm sorry, it's the African Growth and Opportunity.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I think no. I mean, I was hoping. I think Trump changed the rule for Cameroon, so we had to pay a little bit tax.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right when I was trying to do that, bringing the stuff here, the cocoa here. I think the year before I don't know what mistake Cameroon made, and then he changed the rule. So but it wasn't too. And actually, I think that I'm actually against those opportunities, because as I understand, those are opportunities to kind of like they don't incentivize in Africa to actually do transformation in Africa. So they wanted to bring in raw product here. They want a lot of American company to bring in raw product, and so that transformation happened here, and that's so for me, I didn't care that much when they changed the rule for Cameroon, but
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much. And Maricela, I don't know, I know you had to take off, but lots of questions around grants. So I had one from Shalom, and I had one also from Germe, just around grants. And I know you mentioned that Carolyn could probably be a resource as well, but I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about how people can kind of, get help with grants and resources.
Yeah, I have been chatting with Caroline right now, and the truth is, she is representing the Minority Business Office here. They deal with a lot of with SBDC grants and SBDC support. One thing that is important, and I saw in the chat questions about the registration with Secretary of State. We say already it's very important. Without that, you're not going to have any lending or access to any grant. And second of all, for those that it was a question also about the taxes, the people that doesn't have taxes filed yet because they're starting the business. There's some entities that are lending the seed capital, which is called at the beginning. We have some resources. Caroline have some of them. I have other companies that we can recommend, so you can contact us. But starting the business, there are some, but you can think about a big amount of money lending for a business that is starting. That's what they call a seed capital. It's a little bit, you start, you prove your concept, you prove that you are able to sustain a business and to get good money, or this is money for what you are investing on it, and they can lend it to you. So there's different ways we can do it. Caroline or we can just contact us and we can give you these institutions that can help you too.
Yeah, and I would say just along those lines, banks also will lend if you're new in business, but the biggest thing is just, obviously showing projections, having a business plan, making sure that, if you have great credit as well, they can look at that as well. So don't be afraid to approach your bank, but the biggest thing is just establishing that business relationship. So just wanted to add that as well. And this is a really great question for Jamal. I don't know who it came from, but it says, how do you get talented, educated people to get on board and make a team to assist you with your business?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. For me, I did a lot of research, but also going to events like this, when you have the opportunity to see other individuals and just connect with them. And so the biggest thing is coming to events like this. After this event, make sure you follow up and have a conversation. That's something I did. When I was getting started, I reached out to everyone. I emailed councilwomen, councilmen, different politicians, different leaders, even reached out to Papa. Just making those connections available. And that's something I really instilled in myself, was to really make sure I did that. And so how I even got my job at the Community College of Denver to teach business and entrepreneurship was by a simple email. And so what I did with that email is I talked about my community, what I wanted to do, and caught the attention of another professor. And so with that professor, we ended up having a meeting. He looked at my credentials and he was like, well, do you want to teach? And so just making those connections, making sure you stay involved. So any type of event that's going on, make sure you're there and make sure you speak to somebody or just leave your email or your number. And that's how you start to grow your network. And that's how you start to grow professionalism within your business and within yourself. And so that's what I would encourage you to do, is really make sure whoever's all on this call, make sure you connect with each other somehow. And then just start with a conversation. Talk about your goals, talk about their goals, and see if those goals connect, or is them somehow you both can partner. So.
And I would like to add something.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, something that I found particularly helpful sometimes, I think for me and a few other people that I know who started a business around the same time, it's very important to start a business when you're still working, if you're working somewhere, and when you have a job. And I think this could be very helpful because it always takes a lot more money than you actually think of asking. So that's something I wanted to add.
Awesome, thank you. There's still a lot of questions coming in, so what we'll do, I know we can go ahead and actually I put together a list and I can get it over to Lori, and Lori can get out. Papa, I don't know if I can ask maybe one or two more. I don't know if we have any more time. But
yeah, we have time for one more, Lee. You can go for one more question, please.
Okay, awesome. So this one is again for Jamal. And I know you mentioned you had some templates, but I know that there was a lot of questions around if there's any kind of business budget templates or any templates around drafting financials or, just kind of projections. I don't know if you had anything.
Yes, I do have some business templates or things like that that I usually use with my students, but I'm welcome and more than happy to share those with whoever needs that.
Awesome. That's all I had.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I jump in?
Alphonse, we just want to be very respectful of people's time.
Oh, okay. Next time then.
Yes,
yeah.
But I just want to let everybody know, if we did not get a chance to answer your question, please make sure you put in your email. And if you haven't registered through the Eventbrite, we don't have your contact information to send you this presentation and our presenters' contact. So I know that we did chat in the Eventbrite link. So please click on it to register, as we will be sharing with everybody this PowerPoint presentation and all the resources that has been mentioned. So I'm gonna turn it over to Solomon, that's gonna be talking about what's gonna be coming next, the next event that the business committee gonna be putting together. And I'll come up to talk about next event, and we will be announcing the winner of the raffle. Solomon.
Thank you, Papa. I'm just going to take a couple quick minutes to make wrap up comments around our presenters today. First of all, thank you so much for an excellent job. To me, it's fairly fascinating to see the amount of resources we have within the community. So I want to thank my committee members and participants and remind the participants that these committee members are available as resources for you outside this event, that you can continue to reach out to them and really emphasize that that's really what we wanted to highlight, and that's the purpose of this committee, is to continue holding these events where we can identify partnerships that we can highlight to the community. We can identify partnerships even within the community, like we were able to, Maricela was able to highlight Patrick, and Patrick formed a partnership where he agreed to share his story with the community, because we felt that a lot of the participants on this call will identify and be able to see themselves in Patrick's story. So thank you very much. Few comments that jumped out to me. Jamal talked about the importance of networking. There were comments about taking advantage of all the resources we have. Tayo really highlighted formalizing and legitimizing your business. Patrick, one thing he said, that he just said, just do it, get started, don't be afraid, you take the first steps. So really appreciate that. So I wanted to move on and talk about what's coming up next. Like I mentioned, our goal is to try to hold a quarterly event. We were able to do that last year. I think we held 2 or 3 events, but we didn't do one in the fourth quarter. This year we plan on trying to do, this is the first in the first quarter. The next quarter, second quarter, around probably around March or April, we will be talking about financial management and marketing. This event will be highlighted and spearheaded by Bill Tucker, who's on our committee, who's a CPA, and Maricela, who had a chance to talk briefly today. So that's our next event. So please stay tuned. We'll be sending out information on specific dates. And then in the third quarter, we're going to talk about the big C. Patrick alluded to that briefly, access to capital. So we'll really try to identify resources, maybe bring in other, maybe people who can talk a little bit more about seed money and identify different resources to access capital. And then the fourth quarter, we'll probably talk more about expand on that marketing and expansion of your business. Once you're up and running, how do you get to the next level? So those are the upcoming events. And for more information and to stay connected with our programs, obviously contact us on that information that's been posted up there on the slide, phone number. And then I'm going to turn it over to Papa for closing remarks and also talk about other maybe upcoming events that other committees that are going to be hosting. Papa?
Thank you so much, Solomon. And I'll be announcing the winner of the raffle here shortly. We do have a winner, and winners actually. We have a couple of winners. I'll be mentioning their name. But I want to start by really thanking Solomon and his team. And as you can see, they took the time to think about the process. What we want to do here, we want to build generational wealth within our community. And we know that in this country, as long as you're going to keep working for somebody, clocking in and clocking out, we know it's going to be very difficult. So we know also business is not for everybody, but we just want to make sure for those that are thinking about it, that those that really have a passion, so the resources are available to you. So the conversation doesn't stop here. As you hear Solomon say, to announce what's going to be happening next, you don't have to wait. Please reach out to them. We have an attorney, we have bankers, we have CPA. So all the resources you need, we have it within our community. So some of your questions you ask, how do I connect with the right people? This is a place that you need to start, because all the resources you need, we have it within this committee. And if we don't have it here, we have other partners that we can reach out to. So also want to let you know, the public speaking class graduation will be taking place on February 9th. Please come and celebrate the future leaders of the committee. And it's gonna be amazing. If you did miss out the midterm, come and check it out. Also to let you know that February 15th, we do our monthly legal clinic. If you need any advice for legal clinic, just come join our pro bono legal clinic, and we do it also via Zoom. So, and again, on a last note, again, thanking everybody in the committee, Maricela, Jamal, Lee, Solomon, Tayo, and Bill, and our special guest, Patrick. You were the highlight of the event. We are very, very proud of you. We wish you all the success, because the more success you have, the more people from the community will learn from you and follow your footsteps. So we are very, very proud of you, and we look forward to have you teaching other members of the community to be successful. So now, are you guys ready? Do we do the rumble, Miss Laurie, to announce the winner? What do we do? So we have 2 winners of the raffle, and we have Prince as the winner. I don't know if Prince is still with us, because if Prince, you are not with us, you might not get the prize. So is Prince with us? I don't see, Amadou, is Prince with us? The name I have is,
he gets the prize. He gets the prize. He was here.
Yeah.
I see Prince is right there, like raising his head. Yes. So Prince,
you gotta be present to win. So yes, he's present.
So, yeah, Prince, please send us your phone number. We'll be reaching out to you. Please send the chat your phone number. We'll be calling you.
I did already.
All right, thank you so much. Now the second winner, this is somebody I know. Mickey, my friend Mickey. Mickey, are you here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right,
my kid.
So we have.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for participating. And Prince and Mickey, congratulations. The team will be in touch with you to get you your prize. But again,
you,
we really want to thank the entire community for showing up, because if we were going to do this event just to hear ourselves, it wouldn't have the meaning that it should have. So just know that we are very grateful for all of you to be present. And the African Leadership Group is here to serve the community. Just know, from education, legal, business, home ownership, anybody that you know that need any help, we are here to serve the community, and don't hesitate. So I know also there's a lot of need around insurance, around all these things, but just reach out to us, because all the resources, we have it in the community. Jamal, Tayo, Patrick, Maricela, all the speakers, congratulations, well done. And we want to wish everybody a great evening, and we'll be back together very, very, very soon. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Laurie.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Alphonse. It was a pleasure, but I'm gonna follow up with my question.
Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
You know something funny?
Thank you.
Hi, Amadou.
What?
Oh, Laurie, it was something funny.
I missed you today.
Or would you rather watch
Yeah,
a
sorry,
show,
Usman. I was in the
or
lot.
movie that
Thank
is,
you. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Usman.
Oprah Winfrey's breakup.
End the meeting, Papa.
All right, so just end the meeting and leave. And